Yo, Aston the moto guy here. Today I need to get started on making some parts to get one of my race bikes back together. I talked about it in a previous video. It's a 2006 Kawasaki Ninja 650 that I crashed really bad at the first round of the 2024 season, racing with the MRA. That's the Motorcycle Road Racing Association. That's our local club here in Colorado. And I destroyed a lot of this bike. The subframe got ruined, the fairing stays got ruined, the fuel tank, you can see right here, it still holds fuel. There, but for the grace of God it goes. We're gonna keep using this fuel tank. I kind of like how smashed up it is. And I need to make, or get started on making some parts for a new front fairing stay. The last front fairing stay that was on it, I cobbled together really quickly and I didn't do the greatest job on it. So I found myself having to fix it after every round. And then even during rounds, I had to do stupid shit with safety wire to keep it attached to the bike. So in order to make these parts, I start with cardboard or index cards, and I cut them into the shape that they need to be in. This gives me something to measure and reference for when I go inside and I work with a CAD program on my computer. And then I upload that CAD program to a website or company called Send Cut Send, and they send me back what I ask for. So there's going to be two parts to this, the start of a fairing stay. One is going to be made out of steel, and it'll be welded to the front of the frame here on the steering tube or steering neck. And then there will be two more parts that'll then weld together that will slide onto that, made out of aluminum. And then the whole thing will bolt together, and I'll build struts off of it, weld struts off of it that my fairings will pin themselves onto. So I just kind of make a rough sketch without really even drawing anything. And it doesn't have to be perfect at all. But I found that if I try to just go in there and wing it with the CAD program, that does not work very well at all. So having some kind of paper outline to measure and to be able to visualize what I'm doing, found that to be really helpful. And then as far as software goes for doing this sort of thing, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money at all. I actually use a MacBook from, I think it was made in 2012, and then I run an operating system called Ubuntu, which is a version of Linux that has an intuitive, easy to use graphical user interface pasted over the top of it. And old MacBooks are really cheap and they're pretty well built. I mean, mine runs fine. It's kind of underpowered if I get going with too many tabs or whatever, but the trick is just don't open too many tabs. And then the CAD program I use is called LibreCAD, which I guess in Greek or Latin that would be FreeCAD or LibertyCAD or something like that. And it's kind of a hard program to use, but there's tutorials on YouTube, good old University of YouTube, that can get you through it. So yeah, anytime it's just amazing the technology that we have these days, like literally at our fingertips. I imagine most people, even most young people, this isn't an age thing really, but a lot of people just don't know how to leverage that technology to do the things that they want to do, whether that's start a business or make art or make parts for their motorcycle. It's really never been easier to have parts made. I mean, 10 or 15 years ago, you would have had to go to a machinist with like a caveman drawing on the back of a napkin and see if he had time to make the thing that you wanted. Now you can just make a DXF file and upload it on your computer, and a company will send you exactly what you've asked for, cut out of whatever material you want, whatever thickness you want. It's really neat, like really neat. I did it to make the rear set brackets that are bolted onto this bike. So it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to get into this sort of thing. Well, even the tools I use for mechanical work. And 10, 15, 20 years ago, your only real option was walk into the back of the tool truck run by the local Snap-on or Matco guy and just sign your future away for what you needed off the back of that truck. And now you can get on Amazon and you can actually get fairly high quality tools. I've had the same sets of sockets and ratchets that are made in Taiwan, and anybody who, I don't think there's really anybody left who would say bad things about Taiwanese manufacturing. They have some of the finest steel forges on the planet. I'll take the Pepsi challenge against just about anything made here in the US with my Taiwanese tools. Of course, I work on small machines where the torque ratings aren't super high, but I'd be willing to bet that Taiwanese forges go, I mean, they're equal to just about any tools you can buy that were made in the United States or made in Europe. So yeah, I have my little paper prototypes here. Now we'll go inside and we'll see about drawing them on the computer. Take 978. This is my basement. This is the computer that I was talking about earlier. It is, in fact, an ancient MacBook. This one is from the last decade, and I'm sure that somebody you know has one of these rotting in their basement that they would just give to you, that you could install a free operating system on, that you can download free software on too. I use free CAD software called LibreCAD. It's also free to teach yourself how to use this software. I'll drop a link in the description to the tutorial that I found most helpful when I was teaching myself how to use this software to make computer-generated drawings of these paper models of parts that I want to make for my race bike. Always been really inspired by motorsport scenes internationally, especially in countries like Thailand, like Vietnam, like Mexico and Brazil and Argentina and other countries in Central and South America and East Asia, where I know that the average motorsports enthusiast does not have the same kind of resources that the average motorsports enthusiast in Western Europe or here in the United States has, but somehow they manage to build like really cool stuff. And I know that there's rich people in these less developed countries. I'm not completely ignorant about that, but I'm talking about like the average enthusiast. And you can find videos all over YouTube of average motorsports enthusiasts in less developed countries who are hitting really hard for the resources that they have available to them. And I realize that part of that is the ability to use like cheap computers and free and open source software. Not everybody can afford a subscription to software that costs hundreds or thousands of dollars a year. Not everybody even wants to spend that money, even if they have it, to like try and develop a skill that they might get something out of. It's a lot easier and more accessible if you can use a cheap computer, free software, crank out drawings that you can use to make motorcycle parts. It's been a huge part of my racing program. I don't have all the money in the world to spend on motorcycles, so I try to leverage my skills, my knowledge, my ability to learn things to make the things that I need to do what I want to do. And I think if you were to ask anybody who actually knows me, they would tell you that like dollar for dollar, I hit hard when it comes to motorcycle racing. I do not have the nicest bikes. I don't have the newest bikes. I don't spend the most on them. That's for sure. And I can still show up, complete races. Sometimes I finish well. I'm always working on getting faster. So I hope that this video inspires somebody out there somewhere to get more into cheap computers, because there's a lot of value in these things, and especially the free and open source software that you can install on them that allows you to do cool stuff here in the real world. I think that's just, it's amazing. It's mind-blowing. It's something I want to share with the world. In this video, I'm enormously grateful for the technology that we have like at our fingertips these days. It enables lifestyles, it enables hobbies, just possibilities beyond people's wildest imaginations, including my own. So I wanted to share a little bit of my excitement for that. It's something I'm really excited about, something I'm really into, something that I'm going to keep getting better at, to make stuff here in the real world. I think that's really cool too. So with that, I'm going to sign off on this video here in a second or two, and I'll come back as soon as I've made the drawings I need to make and I've had these parts cut out of metal, and I'll show you the rest of the process where I assemble the raw parts, if you will, into a larger assembly that I'll then have installed on one of my race bikes. It'll be kind of cool with any luck. So with that, everybody, please have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. Please be safe out there. All of us are only like one bad decision away from a life in prison. Don't do that. Please be safe and have a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.